Hi everyone, Dino here. This year, my city just celebrated its 25th anniversary in regards to its annual Pride celebration, and to take part myself, I decided to paint an LGBTQ themed model. So without further ado, let's get into it. To pull this off, I had to start by thinking of a game plan, because, well, if you aren't aware, there are quite a few colors in the Pride flag. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. So I had to figure out how to get all of these colors onto one model, which if I'm honest, was quite the challenge. But with some online research and a lot of courage, I got down to start the project. For this project, I decided to take one of my old Infinity models that I had painted a while back when I first started painting, which actually seemed kind of fun since I would be able to see how much better I got at painting miniatures, especially since Infinity models are packed with smooth surfaces and small details, leaving the job to make them pop onto you. Additionally, when looking at my old models, I saw this knight, which was one of my favorite models, and got really excited about repainting him. Plus, I instantly thought of an epic, badass, killer awesome name for LGBTQ model, the Pride Knight. The first step was to prep the model and get it back to a stage where I could actually start painting him again, which meant that I needed to remove the metal bar at its feet so I could give him a new base and to strip the old paint off. Make sure to wear protections whenever you do this type of stuff, because sometimes the pieces decide they want to go to space. I decided to glue the model onto a spare base since I wanted to paint the base and the model itself separately, since it would make my life a little bit easier. After the model was cleaned up and stripped, I took him outside to be primed along with his two bases. I originally didn't know which base I wanted to go with, so I painted two, and ended up going with the weird alien one. Cause like, weird alien stuff is cool. And now, it was finally time to start slapping paint on the model. Whilst painting this model, I got to try my new Kolinsky Sable brushes, and honestly, my first impressions were very good. I don't know how they will put up with time, but for the first paint job, I definitely enjoyed painting with these brushes. The first step to painting this guy was to block in all the colors, since it was the main theme of the model and it would allow me to blend them in a bit better. Most of the colors took at least 2 to 3 coats of paint, but obviously the orange took about 5. And I'm not gonna lie, this is when I got a little bit worried about this project, because if I'm being quite honest, this knight looked like a Fruit Loops box more than anything. But in times of doubt, always push through. You don't actually take anything I say as advice. I'm not a professional, so don't do that. I then put on 2 coats of non-oil wash on the whole model, except for the orange, which I did a mix of 50-50 with Caribou Crimson to give it a more deep orange color. This will also help us pick out all of the details, since with these models, there's quite a lot of them. I wanted the darkest layers of the armor to be extremely dark so that the highlights would pop even more. Plus, it made the model easier to look at. After that was dry, I went in to start highlighting and texturing the armor, one section at a time. The armor was highlighted in 2 stages. The first stage was done with a more traditional layering technique, and then the more extreme highlights were done with an edge highlight and a cross stitch pattern. I saw this done on a model online and really wanted to try it out myself. Obviously, this was the most time-consuming part, because it was this over the entire model, just with different colors. When I was done with the colored panels, I was left with the sword, the gray joints, and his very flowy cloth. On the cloth, I did a blend between the red and orange, which I think turned out pretty nice. I even gave it the cross stitching, which was weird because I would not normally think of doing it on cloth. To be honest, I really enjoyed this technique. Although it took a lot of time, it really looked good by the end. After base coating the sword, this is where we were at with the model. Honestly, it started to look really nice and I was really happy with how it was turning out, and I was looking forward to the final product. Eventually, I realized that I had neglected the suit of armor that he was stepping on, so I went back and painted it with a slightly darker red, which allowed me to blend it in with the base. Unfortunately, I didn't end up recording me painting the said base because I honestly didn't know what I was going to do. This model was so colorful that it was hard to come up with anything that would fit properly, but I ended up going with the alien themed base and painted it with some black rocks and some alien pinkish purple goo, which honestly looked kind of cool since it had a very bioluminescent look and gave our Pride Night that extra pop. But by the end, we finally had our Pride Night. Let me know what you guys think of this model. I really enjoyed painting it, and I'm definitely going to want to try and do that again someday. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like, consider subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next one.